Hey, can you believe it? It's December already, and it's Thursday, December 1st. Welcome to the monthly Your Questions Answered live stream. I'm Michael, KB9VBR.
And I'm the holiest co-host here on the web, Joe, KB9CJX.
I need sleigh bells for that intro. I forgot I
Yeah,
should
you
have.
got to slay it with the sleigh bells, man. That's great.
Needed a little bit of that more cowbell. So we got people, it looks like we got people lining up in the chat this evening. So get your questions, get your ham radio related questions in. We've got a full show, but we've also got time to answer your questions. So the sooner you can add them, the sooner we can, get to them, because like I said,
sooner
a lot
we
of
can
stuff.
come up with a witty response.
Yep, that's for sure. So, all right.
And it's too cold out for us to camp anymore, so we got plenty of time to respond to your questions, guys. Holy smokes, is it cold? I think it was about 10 above this morning, but that wind chill went right through you. Oh, hey, thanks, Christine.
Yeah, we got sleigh bells. We're going to need these for tonight, so we got some.
Boy. Christine is really contributing to tonight's show, guys. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Stick around.
No, in fact, I'm gonna talk about that in a second here. I'm gonna do a few greetings, and then we're gonna talk about her contribution to tonight's show. So, good old Mike from across the river.
Hey, Mike.
Good evening. Yeah.
I'm surprised. He's usually at the Home Depot. Working the extra hours this month. That kidding. Mike hasn't worked overtime since 1978. Okay.
Our good old buddy 45, Vern, another regular. Shane, hello, Shane. Hey, Shane, I'm going to be in your neck of the woods this weekend. We're heading up to Superior for the weekend, so I don't know. Yeah, no, we got a room.
Whoa, they got a room.
Oh, Alan, first day of the month. How are you? I don't get into the Christmas spirit until at least after Thanksgiving. So today we're officially starting the Christmas spirit.
Jolly, right?
Jolly. Yeah.
I might make a couple Christmas vacation references tonight. It just might happen.
Alan wants to know what I picked up at the Hamfest, and I did not buy a lot, but I did get this spiffy attenuator. And
I did not see that when you walked up to it. Like, oh, you got to be kidding! That was later out there. That's like, well, it's a 75 ohm TV attenuator, right?
No, this is the MFJ one. It's 50 ohm.
Okay, so it's 50 ohm, but like for fox hunting, that thing's for cat's meow right there.
Yeah, so I don't have to use my janky homebrew one anymore.
So a couple years ago I found one online. This is like a lab grade attenuator with like a knob and everything on it. It looks real fancy, but it's 75 ohm. But as long as you're not transmitting, it's perfectly fine.
It's perfectly fine. Yeah. So that's that. You're good to go with that. Yeah. So, you're actually the one that got a few good deals at the Hamfest, because
right. So to my over here, whatever way this is on there, because everything was backwards to me. An Adventest 10 megahertz reference signal for the lab. Okay. So crazy. So I look these things up. So back up. So lab equipment generally uses a 10 megahertz reference signal for calibration and keeping everything in line, right?
Yep.
Whether it's a oscilloscope, spectrum analyzer, frequency counter, frequency generator, just about anything uses that 10 megahertz reference. WWV, our time station at 10 megahertz, the National Science Foundation actually keeps it at 10 megahertz because you can actually calibrate a radio to that. It's so solid. So 10 megahertz is kind of like the de facto calibration signal. Well, this thing is sitting there on the floor and it's got a tag for $40.
Oh yeah.
I said, what's wrong with it? Well, it doesn't have a 100 megahertz signal. I said, I don't want a 100 megahertz signal. I want a 10 megahertz signal for $40. He says, well, if you got $40, it's yours. And I said, it's mine. So, side story is it doesn't have the original power cord, which is not like the standard power cord that you would see on a laptop or anything else, really. It's weird.
Mhm.
So, it's got a homebrew one that works. It's a little, yeah, but it works. And it was like accurate to 5.5 digits, which is
Yeah.
good. I would like it a little bit more. But I think, well, 5.5 is about the extent of my equipment around here.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a little vernier dial adjustment that it doesn't seem to work on it. But I think for where I'm at, the only thing else would be like a rubidium standard. I think GPS, I could get like a GPS discipline oscillator for like $150 and some change, and that would be a little more on. But from where I'm at, that's probably pretty good for putzing around with radios, right?
I would think so because you said it was good to 5 digits, and that's like I think it was like, what did we figure out? It was like 3 parts per million, 5 parts per million, or something like that.
Right around there. But so the thing is with precision, guys,
Yeah.
guys and gals, this is the thing. So you can go and get yourself a fancy 4.5 digit meter. I got a 4.5 digit meter over there, the Siglent, great bench meter, and for the price, for like $350, you can't
Mm-hmm.
really beat it. But when you get there, then you want 5.5 digits. When you get that, you want 6.5 digits. And
Mm-hmm.
it just keeps going. So same thing as with a reference center. You want more, you more. It's a downward slope, boys and girls. You really need to be careful about this because after about 4 or 5, we're talking like a mouse fart in a hurricane. Okay.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it's like it's going to make a difference to someone. Like I see
Mm-hmm.
these 8.5 digit Keithley, Agilence, Fluke HP. They make some really high grade, accurate, and precise measurement tools, and I'd really like one. But the only thing it's going to make me do is want a 9.5 one, and a year later, and that's what it does. And
At
I
least,
got like 20. I got 20 meters here. I think I just count. I
yeah.
got a couple more recently. eBay. It's evil. But going down that, it's a slippery slope. So I got us, but it's great. It's great. So I got that.
Yep.
And then I got an old Helicrafters S20R Sky Champion receiver, pre World War II,
Ooh.
for $50. Which, interestingly enough, the original retail price is $49.99. So it only appreciated by $1 or by a penny. So
So I'm looking for a picture of one.
the S20R Sky Champ,
Yeah, the S. Yeah, yeah.
I would pull it
There's,
out here. It's sitting on the shelf right now, but it would require not Herculean strength, but a little agility to get it out here and put it out in front. Maybe
oh, we
um,
got one.
we'll get some video of it maybe later for the January show.
There it is.
Yeah, yep, that's exactly it. That's about the way it looks. So a couple things here. The S20R was basically from about 500 kilohertz up to about 30 megahertz receiver.
Okay.
Now, remember back in the day, they just received or they just transmitted. They didn't do
Yep.
both. It was kind of Helicrafter's midline receiver. It had some nice features, and it was a pretty good one, especially for $50. You really couldn't beat it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so the interesting side note to this is, so my wife's grandfather, who's long since become a silent key, he was a ham, and his QSO card from 1939 shows that he was using an S20R receiver.
Neat.
Okay, so my goal is eventually get this restored, kind of, and give it back to the family as something to kind of remember him by. So I think it's going to take some work. It definitely needs a recap. I have not put it on the very app. I'd kind of like to do that before I spend some money and put caps in it, just make sure it's been done
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
Um, but I could put it on the Variac too, and I could have a nest. That's kind of sort of the gamble with these old ones, but if you bring it up slowly, you shouldn't have a big issue.
So we got some questions on that. KG6LA wants to know if it comes with a mobile mount.
The helicopters? Yeah, it's got a mobile mount. The problem is you got to remove the back seats, right? Or if you wanted to ride shotgun over here, you got to remove the drinker side seat, and that probably gets some like unistrut welded to the frame or to the pan. It doesn't have a mobile mount.
Any radio that's got a handle is a portable radio. So
well, yeah, that's true.
Alan wants to know what mode. So I'm guessing it's just going to be AM, and I don't know. Does it
is an AM receive? So really, late 30s, there wasn't much sideband. Okay,
not till the 50s.
AM and CW, AM and CW. So that's pretty much the extent of it. And most people were just CW guys, right? So, but it does receive AM, and I've heard that the receiver is pretty good. That you can pick up sideband. It just it ain't going to be real good fidelity.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So crazy. Moving on, we got a question here. So, Brian says, you've been talking about GMRS, and it says that GMRS is pretty dead in north central Wisconsin. We used to have a lot more GMRS activity up here, but then our repeater went off the air a couple of years ago. So,
ironically, it's the same day that our repeaters went off the air a few years ago.
Yeah. Up on Mosinee Hill, there was a GMRS repeater along with a few of our ham stuff in a little concrete pillbox up there, and
the concrete defecatorium.
Yep. They moved us out of that. Building because they wanted to put a new enclosure up. So we ended up in a new space, which meant everything had to move to a new tower. We've got all of the equipment set up in the new space, but we need a tower climber to get that repeater back on the air because it's one of those things. It's easy. It's actually easier to get all the material, everything, than it is to get someone to climb up the damn tower. It is.
No lies. We got everything. We got parts laying around ready to go, but to get a tower climber to come take stuff down or take down and put it up is just such a cost.
Yep, really exactly. So, I'm going to mention something. You see the guy behind me here. We were talking about my wife Chris's contribution to tonight's live stream, and it's going to be that. So,
I thought you were talking about that 6-foot bunny rabbit behind you.
The 6-foot bunny rabbit. I'm going to get up here and.
Well, you can't see him. This is my friend. Do my best Jimmy Stewart impression, man.
My head doesn't have a name. I should probably name this guy, but he's so. In my videos that Christine does a lot of weaving because she shows up quite frequently, and she's found that she can take a lot of the when she's done with a project, she might have some bits and pieces leftover yarn and whatnot, that might not work out for another weaving or whatnot. So all of these odds and ends, she's found that that usually they're long enough that she can weave a hat. Actually, instead of knitting the hat, this is a woven hat. She's got a hat loom or something like that. It's kind of a weird contraption, but so she's been doing these knit hats, and we're going to give this one away. The neat thing about this hat, I don't know if you can kind of see the sparkles a little bit as I turn it.
That's uniform snot.
It is uniform
the yarn.
But if you shine a light on it, this is what you get. So it's reflective, and we're gonna. Fancy. That's really fancy. So you can wear this out at your Aries Races activation because it's tactical.
Winter field day.
Winter field day would be perfect. It's tactical.
You don't want to get lost in that snowbank.
So we're going to be giving this hat away tonight. So here's the deal. You got to stick around because what we're going to do is at the 7:45 hour in about 30 minutes, 7:45 Central Time, or I should say just, exactly 30 minutes from now, we're going to give this away. Whoever's in the chat at 7:45 is going to have a chance to win this hat.
So stick around. It could be
stick around. Stick around. So we're gonna
even put a couple of his business cards in there.
Yeah, we'll throw some stickers. We got some stickers too. We can pop in there. Stick around for the hat giveaway. 7:45 Central.
There we go. Great stocking stuffer, guys. If you're looking for something for the YL.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about stocking stuffers after the break. So
great.
I
got a couple online.
I don't know where to put him, but I'll put him. Let's see if I can put him in the back so people can see him. So it's a combination of wool, acrylic, and other fibers, she says on the label. So
might not be flame resistant. Just gonna tell you that.
Colton wants to know if the head comes with it. No, I gotta say.
No, you don't get the head.
No, he's that the head stays. So I have another hat I'll stick on there. It could be spurious emissions though. So it's yeah. Yeah, someone said, yeah, I haven't seen one of those scanners in a year. That's my old Bearcat. So it's
that's still rock bar?
No. That one's a frequency synthesis. So
ooh, fancy.
Every once in a while I turn up the volume so I can listen to the area repeaters because you can't listen to the police anymore. So
you can still listen to EMS and fire.
I can listen to EMS and fire. They're
and
still
highway department and a few other things.
Yeah, they're analog buses, things like that. So got a couple of questions.
The kids start acting up on the bus,
There you go. Yep, Bearcat was made by Unit. Yep, it's Unit and Bearcat. So so I might have to bring that out on the show some evening. So got some more people filling in here. I got a couple of questions I had grabbed here, and if anybody else has any amateur radio related questions, throw them into the chat. We'll try to do as many as we can. So okay, Jason says, I got a question. I have no space for guying an antenna, but I have a 35-foot mast and a vertical antenna. How can I secure it without guying?
Yeah, so you have a 35-foot mast. What's the mast?
Yeah,
pipe. You ain't gonna get that up without guying. It's just gonna flop. They make unguyed towers.
Mm-hmm.
So usually, and they're kind of more stackable, kind of like Russian dolls, right? Michael, you have one actually in your backyard. That's what's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of work their way out and work their way up, and they're usually unguyed, but there is a lot of rigidity in it. Okay, the way it's made, and it's got a lot of bracing on. So if you have a 35-foot mast that's designed, okay, fiberglass telescope, you gotta get some guy lines on that. That's the only way you're going to get around it. Otherwise, that thing's going to blow and it's going to tip over real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately, if it was like steel, like pipe, you could probably, if you had a big enough hole to countersink it in with concrete. But I don't think you would be. I don't know how deep you'd have to dig that hole for 35 feet.
No, you can't. It would snap.
If you can support it against your house with a bracket.
Yeah.
Like a soffit bracket or something.
35 feet, I think it would rip it right off. It's going to get a pendulum effect like this, and it's just going to get going.
But if you go up if you've got a story and a half house and you go up 20 feet and bracket it to the house, you can go up another 10 or so with so
maybe. I would say it really depends. If you got a tall peak that you can bracket it to, you might get above it a little bit, but that's putting it right next to the house kind of defeats a lot of the purpose of having a big 35-foot stick, right? You kind of want to get that up and away from the house in order so you have more clear for takeoff angle. So yeah, good luck with it. You could try putting it up against a house, but I really think that you're asking for a lot of problems on that.
He's got a backyard like I do, trees and the power lines running through it. I've got 4 utility
if you got
lines.
power lines running through a tree sod, you might have some other problems. Not that I'm an electrician or anything. And no, I understand. Yeah. I have the same problem. I have a 60-foot wide lot that's really narrow, but it's long, and I have power lines on both sides. It's a pain in the butt, but work with it. Sometimes if you get a wire antenna that runs parallel with those lines, that might be the best thing.
Yeah. Otherwise, unless it's like, I'm thinking he's probably trying to put up like a VHF, UHF stick or something like that. So
here's an idea. Go get one of those antenna tripods for like a TV antenna on the roof mount, right?
There you go.
Then stick an antenna on top of that. You can stick a J-pole on that or a Comet ground plane. What I've always wanted to do is I got a 2-meter 3-element beam, a little Cushcraft one. I think it's like a 144 B2 or something. And I've always wanted to mount that horizontal on a TV antenna tripod on the roof, and then put like a 6-meter ground plane on top of it for a little 6-meter, 2-meter action. And then put a rotor on it so I can turn the 2-meter, but then I always have the ground plane 6. But the wife won't let me do that. That would require drilling holes in the roof.
Of course.
She says if I fall off the roof before I drill a hole, she's okay with that because she's got, open enrollment just in and she up the life insurance a little more. So.
Oh, man. Yeah. We got Matt coming into the chat. Just taught his first basic license course. It has 11 people writing their test in the morning. That is awesome.
Congrats, man. So, I taught, okay? And that first class is always, you're sweating bullets, right? Like he's like, I don't know if I would, you want, like, these are your children. Like, you've raised them. You've done everything you can to teach them. There's always the one that's picking his nose in the back, right? So, no, congratulations first of all, for doing that. And best of luck tomorrow. Hope they all pass.
Yeah, exactly. So it's exactly, but it's always, classes are fun. It's good to see, and especially when all or a high percentage of your students pass. That's amazing. So.
I taught the extra class one year. That almost led to a divorce, amongst other things, because it drove me nuts. And I was still doing school as well at the time. And out of the 6 that took the test, 5 passed.
Hey,
I'll take that as a win. So
I would too. So,
but one passed with only 2 wrong, 1 passed with only 1 wrong. She had a PhD though, so I did not have much credit. She knows how to study. They were all real smart people, so I'm not taking a lot of credit for that. They really did a lot of it themselves.
So good deal. So let's see. We got a question here that came in email, and Joe and I we were chatting about this before the show, but. Jimmy asks, I'm building a Radio Shack on my land in a place that obtaining commercial power is cost prohibitive. I own a built, B-I-L-T, built hard, 4,500 watt inverter generator.
Jimmy, I'm built hard too, right here.
Built hard, yeah, we all are, aren't we? I've been told that operating with a generator could cause interference to my radio equipment. I'll be using a Yaesu FT897 and an Ameritron 811 HF amplifier, 600 watts. The power station will also provide lights and a coffee pot. What size power station will be the best for this situation? And how many amps does a 100-watt transceiver use? So, Joe, you want to talk about the generator stuff first?
Okay, so well, so you're running a generator, 4,500 watts. Realistically, that's about 35 amps at 120 volts. 35 amp. I mean, have I checked what's going on here in my box, right in my panel right now? I'm probably only pulling about 35 amps, 40 amps. My house doesn't use. I don't have a lot of electric things running in my house, other than the furnace for the blower. So 4,500 watts inverter generator is a lot of power. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, it could run everything you got there, no problem. Is it necessary? So think about this. Inverter generators and generators in general are going to produce electricity, but they're also going to have some sort of RFI, radio frequency interference. Whether it's best of the best Honda suitcase generator, if you got some sort of like Generac, whole house, mounted on concrete, or the Built Hard, which is, I don't think it's a Harbor Freight brand, but, it's a budget line. It's good, it's solid. They all put out hash. That's what they do. It's just the nature of the beast. You can reduce it, you can mitigate it somewhat. Sometimes it's not too bad. Distance is the key. Okay. So I see that you're running FT897. Good choice. That's my field radio. I love that thing. Hard as a rock. Then you're running an 811 amp. Okay. Do you need the amp? You're already kind of off grid. You're out away from everything else. I would recommend, I always say, I have an 811. Don't get me wrong on this, but put a little more time. Now, you don't necessarily have to put more money, but put a little more time into your antenna. And I think you will work a lot of stations with that, especially with a very low noise floor out or away from your house, away from other things. If you're away from commercial mains, that's great. Think about this, Jimmy. Instead of the amp, a bank of batteries. Some deep cell, marine cell batteries, 12 volts in parallel, right? If you put them in parallel, that increases your current, available current. It keeps you at 13, 14 volts. So if you get three of them at 100 amp hours each, that's 300 amp hours. Holy smokes, Jimmy. If you want to get a little, like 1,000-watt inverter for a little coffee machine, and then run some 12-volt LEDs directly off the battery, that's a great idea. And then because you have 12 volts available, you could just get a little MFJ power pole box for your radios and other equipment on that as well.
There you go.
And then I think then all you really got to do is run that generator for an hour or two with like a battery charger. Juice up those batteries, juice them up just at dusk, at dinner time while you're eating something or brewing up some coffee. Shut the generator off at night, and you can go all night.
Yeah,
with some lights, with some coffee, maybe an adult beverage. I don't know. You partake of that. So we go out do winter field day every year at my buddy's place, and he's got 900 watts of solar with an inverter and a 2,000 watt amp, or a 2,000 watt inverter.
2,000-watt inverter, yeah.
Right, and he's got some larger 6-volt batteries in series to get 24 volts. So because of 24-volt system, that reduces the current on the inverter, the input current on the inverter by 50%. So that's a huge help for
yeah.
And we go out there a whole weekend in the middle of January, and we have firewood heat, but we have lights, we have 20 amp circuits, we have a coffee maker, you name it. So if you really want to go off the grid, consider batteries and just keeping all your consumption low and just being smart with it. I think you can have a generator out there as needed, but charge up the batteries, live off the batteries. And then
that's what,
the batteries create no interference whatsoever.
And then just run the generator for an hour or two just to charge the batteries up. That's what Travis does. You know, he spends all summer in his camper out in the national forest, and he's got 150 amp hour battery. So
150, yeah, he's got a pretty large LiFePro 4 battery. And
so he'll run a generator for a couple hours just to get everything charged up. Solar panels top everything off during the day, and then in the morning, he's got one of those little coffee makers to, makes enough to fill his thermos with coffee. So
exactly, you believe it or not, the coffee maker pulls about 8-9 amps when she's brewing.
Yes,
they really do.
They pull a
the
lot.
only thing that actually does more is like a microwave. You put a microwave out there, that's pulling like 10 or 12 amps, guaranteed. That will really work a battery system. I'm going to guarantee it. So just remember that. Take things into consideration. But no, I applaud you for off-grid living. I love going out to the weekend. Like I said, we go out there camping-wise as well. Just nice to get away from it all. So best of luck to you. Like I said, I don't think you need the amp. I think you put a little more time into an antenna, a little bit of investment. It may take a little thing here and there, but leave the amp at the house, and I think you will have a great radio experience.
Yeah, and if you really do need to run the generator and the transceiver at the same time, you can try the noise blanker. See if that should cut some of the hash down. That works really well for, its intention is to get rid of the alternator noise when you're running in a vehicle, but it'll also help filter some of that generator hash too, because
it's most of it's usually for ignition noise. I
Yeah.
don't do that. Roofing filters, a radio with a good roofing filter is worth its weight in gold. You could try some bandpass filters as well. We've used the 20 and 40 meter bandpass filters, and when we were out at the shack, because we've always had a problem with some RF interference from these solar chargers, and we had pretty good luck with those bandpass filters. That help keeping that noise out.
Yeah, but but just realize that the generator is going to increase your noise floor to an S3 or an S5, so it's
and it's just loud.
It's that noise, yeah. It's terrible. So we got a couple. We had a couple here. Mike says he ran 200-watt radios with a 100 amp hour battery for 24 hours. So. And I know I've run a 100-watt radio with the 50 amp hour battery all weekend, so you can definitely do that. So
and batteries have gotten way better, even like marine batteries.
Exactly.
Right. If you have the ability to get a lithium iron phosphate battery, game changer. But the price is still up there. I mean, for 100 amp hour, you're probably paying $300 or $400. Which is going to be 3 to 4 times what 100 amp hour lead acid would. But you'd have twice the runtime guaranteed with that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So, all right, got a quickie here. We're at the bottom of the hour here, so just gonna kind of remind people of a few things. But first, Chuck asks, do you make GMRS antennas? I have one of your 2-meter ones, and yes, I do. I do make a GMRS antenna. It's about 30 inches long. I think I've got one. Hold on. Now I got to get up again.
It's always getting up, guys.
Always getting up. See, you ask me these
not
questions.
Prepared. Never prepared.
I do have one. So, diagonally it fits in. It just barely fits into the screen. But
it's like a 441, Michael.
Well, it's 70 centimeter GMRS. They look the same.
You see one day, Paul, you see them all.
That's right. So we do. I do have those. They're on the website. I'll throw the website address up in a minute here. So, but we are at the bottom of the hour. I just want to remind everybody of two things. If I can get to them. Number one is that we're giving away the hat in the background there on the other
11
side
minutes,
there.
guys. 11 minutes.
In 11 minutes. That was woven by Christine, my wife. You've seen her do a lot of her weavings at the in my Parks on the Air videos. And to win that hat, you just got to stick around till 7:45 p.m. when we're gonna draw it. So
and then wait another 15 minutes.
And then wait another 15 minutes. And then let's see. There's a very special group of people that help keep this show rolling and keep the channel going, and that's our patrons over on Patreon. And we got a lot of new ones that came on board the last month. So I just want to acknowledge all of our new patrons. On the supporter level, Paul Walsh, thank you. And then all our new friends, Martin Malley, Jason, Bill Starkey, Scott Dantis, and Ryan Torg. Excuse me. Thank you for your support. And then, of course, our producers, they're the really important people here. They're on the top support level, but they're the ones that just go over and above, that help keep things rolling. Dave White, Paul Sweeney, Brian Liebig, Grand Gray, and Lyle. Thank you so much for your continued support. It's critical to keeping that show going. Yeah, I see that. I'm just going to solo here because Joe stepped away for a second, but that's okay. And so if you want to be a patron and want to support the channel, you can do that over at patreon.com/KB9VBR antennas. We do have some great incentives for our patrons, so we'd love to have you go there, check it out, and help us out. It's always appreciated. This is at patreon.com/KB9VBR antennas. And also check out the website at jpole-antenna.com. That's where you can find that GMRS J-pole antenna. And with that, I'm just going to have a word from our sponsor. KB9 VBR antennas are simple, effective, and affordable VHF and UHF antennas for amateur radio, MURS, public safety, and GMRS. Made in the USA with quality parts. Get yours online at jpole-antenna.com. Okay. And
thank you for that important informational bit there. GMRS 2, right? Hey.
GMRS 2. So stick around. Yeah, like I said, stick around for that hat giveaway. We're coming up in about 7 minutes. But let's talk about the holidays are coming up real quick. And now that's the 1st of December, we're allowed to talk about the Christmas holidays and all of the other holidays that happen in December: Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Festivus. Whamageddon, yeah.
I hate that one.
Whamageddon.
You know what Whamageddon is?
Are you out already?
No, I'm not. But it's stuck in my head.
Do you want to be out? We could probably play it on the stream.
No, I don't want to hear it at all. You might as well just rickroll me while you're at it.
Stocking stuffers. We do a couple of, I'm always on the lookout for inexpensive holiday gifts for, amateur radio, friends, amateur radio family, things like that. We do.
I've never gotten a stocking stuffer from you, Michael.
You've gotten white elephants from me.
Yeah, I got ticking time bombs too, but we're not going to talk about those. Thanks for the gift, Michael. Why is it ticking?
Why is it ticking?
Don't cut the red wire. Yeah.
So we kind of looked around and found a few kind of ideas that might be good to, if you're looking for an inexpensive gift for a ham radio buddy, if you're looking for stocking stuffers for hams or things like that. And I think the first thing that I came up with,
XYL in your life,
or an XYL, is for cheap gifts that are ham friendly. I think you don't have to go down any further than your local Harbor Freight, because I found things like heat shrink tubing.
You need heat shrink, guys. Really do.
You need shrink terminals. Look at this. This thing is
Ooh,
full of.
you're getting me right here. Heat shrink and terminals.
And of course, grommets. And these things are
Life isn't life without a good grommet, my friend.
These things are only a few bucks. If you're going to your ham club's holiday party and you need a white elephant gift, there you go. Another favorite is step drill bits. I think I got one that's out of the package. These are like only $12. So now, Joe, I know you kind of had a couple here too. So
right, yeah. So I had a couple. First of all, I also like tools. So for like $6 on Amazon, these little Heiko flush cut pliers right here. I got a pair of these, and I use it everything from electronics work to cutting zip ties to once in a jiff, I even trim my toenails with it.
There you go.
Because I had like one of those toenails I was catching on my sock. Like I need to trim this thing now, and it's perfect. The flush cut is real nice. So if you have like a regular pair of wire cutters, they always leave a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
These are flush. So if you cut a zip tie, it cuts it right off at the head of it.
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah.
And Heiko is a pretty good brand, actually. They make some really, really, really good soldering stations.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a chance, just they're not terribly expensive. Like for $100 or so, you can get a really good soldering station for your ham workbench. But these little things are great for doing ham radio or even just regular arts and crafts stuff. Don't let the wife see them because she'll take them for the.
Oh, then you'll lose them for good. That's right.
But if you look there, you could buy like a 6-pack. You could buy these damn things in bulk. So
actually, a 3-pack for $17.99. I'm in it, and then give one to her, and you keep one in
one to Christina, one to each of the kids.
Yeah.
And then got to get everything else. Maybe roll of duct tape.
Actually, that's another great stocking stuffer. Throw
For the past 20 years, every year I get a roll of duct tape from my dad. I got like 10 rolls of duct tape in my toolbox. You need some duct tape? I got some.
Well, get a couple of these rolls of Scotch 33 Plus. And
I have an unlimited supply of
you've
always use Scotch 33 for electrical tape. If you use anything else, I'll slap you upside the head. Everything else is just crap.
Another thing you suggested was the Craft Form compact pouch set, and this is a little bitty multi-driver that looked really neat.
So Weira is a German brand, and they make some crazy good screwdrivers, guys. Like, I don't like to endorse screwdriver porn, but these are really sexy, guys. I've been using Weira for a while. I got a set of like 6 coming tomorrow. But I saw these like this is for $35, and we just had the video about the parts box, right?
Mm-hmm.
And have one of these in your parts box. Holy crap! This and maybe a pair of a Leatherman's tool, and you can take care of just about anything, right?
Actually, what I really like are the Knipex pliers.
Oh, dude, yeah, get rid of that channel lock stuff. I got the Knipex plier. In fact, hold on.
You got one. Let me find. Let me see if I can find the one I like.
This little itty bitty one right here. If you can come back onto the screen here. This thing right here. Oh yeah, those are some hot pliers. Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, there it is. So these are only like 5 inches, maybe. It's a little one. But anything like up to like a 9/16 is done. You can take care of that real quick. Actually, I've used these on like 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch lock nuts, and it's great. They have the way they're designed. They will bite into just about anything once you get onto them. So have one of these as well. Keep one in the car, right?
There you go.
So, because remember, this is SAE and metric, guys. It's adjustable. They're a little pricey. I'm not going to lie, but they're worth it.
I think
I beat the living crap out of them.
these are the locking ones. The locking ones are the ones I really like, because they've got an extra mechanism in them that turns this into a like an open end box wrench.
Yeah, the mafia guys use those for breaking fingers. What? I was supposed to say that. They will grip on to anything, though. Really well.
I'm going to throw this into, I got a list going. If you're looking for these kind of stocking stuffers, let me see if we can pull this up here. Of course, no, I've been building a list, and I'm going to throw this into the chat. Let's see if I make it work. Let me get back up here. There we go. Yeah.
There we go.
Ham radio. Oops. And then it crashed on me. So
we're live here. So when he cuts this down, we have to cut like 5.
Did it go? I think it went. There it went. Okay. Now we got her up there. So you'll find my list of amateur radio gear. That's some other things you might want to consider. The Pocket Ref, cute little book. It's got everything you need to know. You could restart society with this book. It's that good. So.
Oh, really? After we bring it down, you want to restart it?
These are my favorite. Let's see if I can get them pulled up here. Bongo ties.
Oh, bongo ties.
Yeah. Another great little stocking stuffer. Better than Velcro. They're elastic and.
I thought you were saying better than sex.
Well, they might be too.
Well, that's a little weird, but okay.
So, check those out. We are at we're 2 minutes past the point where I said I was gonna.
We're in trouble.
We're in trouble now.
All right, everyone, grab your tickets.
If anybody's got, like I said, we're giving away the hat. I think I can make this work. I hope I can make this work. So it's, I have no idea. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Start collecting entries. And it's working. I don't know if anybody can see this or not, but
I can't see it.
All right. Well, oh shoot. Okay. This is.
So this is why it took like 2 days. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Winner is Clint. So,
Clint, you look like a guy who needs a hat. Congratulations.
All right, Clint.
Now, don't put your address in the chat. We'll send it to us privately. You don't want to put your address out for everyone. There's a lot of female stalkers out here, Clint. They come after us daily. We got to beat them away with a stick. And we don't want to put that burden upon you, my friend, especially with this hat.
So, Clint, email me I'll put it in the chat here. KB9VBR@yahoo.com.
Yeah, good. Red Stick Ham. Good luck, Clint. You're going to need it, buddy. The ladies are going to love this hat.
All right. So drop me a line, and I will get this hat. It's reflective off in the mail to you, along with some other great swag. So thanks for playing.
And what we did know is Clint probably lives in like Key West, Florida. Southern California, I don't know.
So.
the stocking cap at Key West.
Yeah. So hey,
That is pretty nice. She did a really good job on that.
It does. They turn out really, they turn out really nice.
I think she can make one in my size.
Oh, she probably could.
It'd take a lot of rum.
She probably could. She's been selling these. She's got them at a couple places. In one shop in Stevens Point and a shop in Eau Claire. So it's
holy smoke, she's getting out there.
Yeah. So we'll have to. So drop us a line, Clint, and well, hopefully we'll get you. Some of the people are saying, it's Clint's taking the ham test tomorrow. So
oh, dude, if you could get that on tomorrow, special powers would be imbued to you. Like you could practically take all 3 tests tomorrow and pass. I've seen it done.
Okay, so all right. Hopefully we can get that hooked up with them, and he will pass his test for sure. So
Brent, and for BDW, how do you know it doesn't possess the test answers? How do you know? We're wise. Okay,
it's reflective. It's reflective. So there we go. Okay, let's see. We got a couple of questions here. Get back on track here. Mike asks, is common mode current a concern with QRP? I recently got a Nikon 705. I use it with a roll-up J-pole for VHF, UHF, and an end-fit hat wave for some dipoles. Use a choke near my 7300 for end-fit half wave. The thing with common mode currents is that it can be an issue, but I think a lot of people just kind of just make common mode current sound a lot worse than it really can be. So it's definitely a problem. What common mode current is that when when you're transmitting, RF energy can come back down the outside braid of your feed line, and in effect, it may turn your coaxial cable into say like a counterpoise if you're using an HF antenna. With the VHF, UHF, it can affect the radiation pattern of your antenna. But performance-wise, I don't think it's gonna. It doesn't reduce the amount of power you're able to put out at all.
Right.
Really.
So it's a thought about this. So it's a 705. The 705 is a QRP radio. It only puts out 5 to 10 watts. So you got to understand that any reflected power coming back down the shield is not going to be that much. The QRP guys get away with the end-fed and random wires like gangbusters, and they work really good with QRP because even at a higher SWR, you don't have a lot of power coming back at you, right? Now, the thought of the shielding being a counterpoise, that can be a good and bad thing depending on the antenna, actually. Sometimes that's actually what you're supposed to do, is use that as a counterpoise. So I would say if you're using resonant antennas, it's usually never a problem. You said you're using end-fed half wave. So there is going to be some. The most effective way to get rid of that is just the ugly balun.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, as always, just you have 3 or 4 or 5 turns of coax in a smallish loop, and
usually like not like a coffee can, but like a soup can, maybe a bigger soup can. If you're a hefty guy like me, now guys, I know it kind of looks like I have a bra on here. I don't. Just the light. It's been bugging me for the past hour. It looks like I got it. Looks like I got a bikini on. I don't. I'm not quite like that. I'm weird, but not like that. So, but you could really just do the balun thing, and that would help reduce it. Michael alluded to something last month. More coax.
There you go.
Right, because the longer your coax, there is attenuation. While wouldn't be too bad on your output if you have a little bit of return current. A little bit more coax sometimes gets rid of that. And you have a lower SWR all of a sudden. It has a little bit to do with the wavelength and everything else, but you can play around with that as well. So
yeah,
in the end, it's something to be aware of, but I don't think you're going to run into too many problems with it, especially with like a 705 running QRP.
No, and it's if I can find my copy of the ARL antenna book, and like I said, they said that while common mode currents can be an issue, they aren't. It's not the end of the world if you've got common mode current on your feed line, and your antennas will still perform and they will still function. So, but it's, I suppose eliminating it is always better than leaving it there. But
Right.
some people use it to their advantage, especially with the end-fed half waves. Use your coax as part of your antenna system, and
Right. Part of your counterpoise, then you put your balun closer to the radio than at the beat point, right? Then that counterpoise kind of plays with your antenna, and that actually helps. So, again, something to consider for a 40-meter end-fed half wave. 33 feet is kind of that. 33 feet is kind of a magic number for a lot of things in antennas. So if you had like 33 feet of coax on that, and then a balun at the radio, take a 50-foot coil, make a balun at 33 feet. Try that. See what happens.
There we go. So, yeah, a couple of great ideas there. So, let's see. And another question I can pull up here. We were talking about generators. What's the best way to reduce generator RF noise? Tried one up in Minnesota, totally wiped out the HF bands. We kind of alluded to that earlier. It's tough to get rid of. Bandpass filters, you're using the noise blanker on the transceiver, but batteries is the best way to remove it.
Right. Well, even if your generator is charging batteries, a battery is a really good filter for that noise. That helps a lot. Okay. You can ground a generator with a ground rod. For portable operation, I think it's kind of a waste of time. You can do that. You can put ferrite chokes on all your power cords as well. Okay, so anything that's carrying 12 volts or 120 volts, put a ferrite choke on it. Bandpass filters may help. Distance helps. Okay, so if you could put the generator 50 feet away, 75 feet away, that may help. Inverter style generators can really put out RF hash. Our club uses an old Onan, big one, like 6,000 watt. It's a beast. It's a monster. Like, you got to do an oil change. It's got an oil filter. It's a man's generator. That's a pretty good one, because it's an old style generator. It's got the brushes. The brushes will have sparks, and that spark is at a high frequency, and that causes a little problem. But not as much as those inverter type suitcase generators, which are more and more common, and they're really cheap, right? So everyone's got it. Even the Hondas really do it. Our friend Travis, WNHCG, on his channel, he reviewed one of the Harbor Freight ones, and he said actually the hash wasn't that bad on it. So take that into consideration.
There you go.
But sometimes you just got to do the mitigation game with it. Distance, chokes, you name it. But let us know how it goes. And if you run into more specific problems, especially in a specific band, let's see what we can do to help you out.
We'll try to follow up on that one too. So it's tough. It's tough to get rid of. That's why I avoid them as much as we can. So
if you get to a system where you can run the generator to charge the batteries and shut off the generator, that's the goal right there.
There you go. So, well, last week on the channel, we had that video of your portable, or your not portable kit, your spare parts kit.
Yeah.
And Alan asked, what does my spare parts kit look like? So
what is in your box, Mike?
What is in my box? This is what I use. I've had this for I don't know how many years.
It's a little tackle box.
Yeah, it's a soft-sided tackle box.
Okay.
Plano.
I like that.
Yep.
Plano, nothing but the best part.
It was on sale at Fleet Farm.
Hey guys, side note, just go wander around Fleet Farm for ham radio ideas. There's tons of stuff. One time I went to a Fleet Farm.
There's grommets, fuses. I got a bunch of them Molex connectors in here. I must have picked up a ton of them at a Hamfest and stuck them.
Oh, Molex connectors, yeah, those are worth their weight in gold. If you got the little pin, you got the little tool for them.
Yeah,
those are great. Those are personally, the Molex ones I think are better than power poles, but man, that could be blasphemy right there.
Well, it's you might start a holy war there. So.
Right, because what does everyone do when they get a radio? Cut off the Molex, put power poles on it, right?
I make That's why I got these connectors is I just make adapters and leave the Molex in place.
Nice.
This one's mostly empty. But I got a few spare parts in here. Like it looks like I got some DB9s and some 8th micro connectors. This is an interesting thing. I got key springs.
Yeah,
I was refurbing a J38 key, and it needed a new spring. So I ordered. You can't really see it. I ordered like a half a dozen of these because it was the same price.
Yeah. You might as well.
So
I think I got a J38. Maybe I'll bum a few of those from you.
If you need a spring, it's
next month. Everyone's getting a J38 spring.
Those are from Viking, actually. So I don't know if I think they're still in business. So things just sort of kind of collect in here. And then the other ones, we got goodies like, ring terminals, more shrink wrap.
Really can't.
We got ring terminals up the wazoo.
The non-insulated ones and a little shrink wrap. That's kind of that's my jam right there. I can really make a nice termination.
I should probably go that route instead of... And adapters, we got barrel connectors, we got PLs, reducers.
So I have two classifications of the RF connectors and adapters. I got like the cheap ones that I keep in that box, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the dime a dozen ones. And then the good ones, the high quality ones, I keep on the workbench with all the RF test gear.
Yeah.
There's a difference. There really is a difference between an Amphenol brand RF connector and the one you get off Amazon. There is a difference between SMAs you get off Amazon and the stuff you buy from Pasternak. There really is a difference. And some of the stuff on Amazon is great for just going out in the field and operating.
Yeah.
But if I'm working on something on the bench, I gotta have the good stuff because you're just gonna have problems on a bench situation. It's one of those things where it's like you don't know what it is, but you're getting a weird measurement or something.
Yep.
And that's what it comes down to. But when you're just out in the field, they work fine.
Of course, yeah. So, and then I've got this tub that's just got all the other odds and ends that I don't put into the other bags. So, spring clips, alligator clips, more adapters.
Some of the medium-sized alligator clips for battery. For battery posts. Keep a set of them in there, and then something kind of crimp on a wire in case you are in one of those SHTF situations where you just got to get something on the air real quick.
Extra fuses, I got tons of weird stuff in here. Switches, old project box.
Smokes.
When I do a project, and I say I rummage through my parts bin. this is the kind of stuff that
My entire basement is a junk bin. I mean, you've been down here once or twice. You kind of know the situation.
phono connectors. So it's there's switches in here. There's power outlets, and I got more stuff behind me. I got another. There's another container that's those little Slido drawer things that are full of all of the resistors and capacitors and whatnots, diodes and that kind of stuff. So it's but the soft-sided tackle box, that's real handy because you can throw that in the car for field day, and
Yep.
you gotta
Definitely it, whether it's bench bound or it's mobile, just having a supply of that little thing makes things a lot easier in this hobby. So definitely don't knock it.
Yeah. Connectors vary widely. I like those Amphenol connectors because they don't have that really weird chrome on them that never takes solder.
I've used those cheap ones off Amazon and eBay, and then I stopped using them, and I just call you when I need them. It's true. Michael does use the Amphenol ones on the J poles.
Yes, I do.
They do solder better, even though they're chassis mount ones, but they take the heat a lot better.
They got a heat resistant dielectric,
plastic in there. As soon as you hit them with the iron, they just melt, and then they're shot.
Yep. So yeah. Mike prefers the Molex connectors, so it's
they're good. There's a reason why they use them in vehicles. I mean, they can really take a beating. High temp areas, high noise areas. So don't knock them. But you gotta. There's like a little tool to get the pins in and out and stuff, and people don't like that. But they put just as much time into the power poles.
The downside with the power pole connectors is that is they don't like to flex. And that's what can cause connection issues when you start flexing them. But not so much the case with some of the other ones. Yeah, Brad's considering doing the power pole mod for the 891 like everyone's doing. We're worried about screwing up my warranty. I think I'm going to pass on the power pole mod just because of that same reason. I don't like the idea. If the power pole was a pigtail coming out, I'd do it. But with the mod, the mod puts a panel mount so that the power poles plug right into that little spot on the back of your 891 where and there's no flexibility to that.
If you're going to spend the time to do the mod, just do this. Just go buy a second power cord from Yaesu, and right after the fuses, cut it off and put a power pole on that. Then you got a flexible pigtail.
Yeah, flexible pigtail is all you need.
Yeah, so. I think that's better than actually trying to just mod the whole thing. And then it's a second power cord from Yaesu. You're not screwing with your warranty at all, right?
That's what I did. Yep, exactly. So, all right. So, let's see if I think I got one more question. I kind of popped here. ESS ones, there's what makes a balun in 49-1 versus 1-1. How can I calculate how many turns for a specific ratio? I have some toroids, 140-30 left over from a build. I need a 1-1 for a dipole. Let's see. I trying to think of the best way to kind of how would if you go online and just type 1-1 current balun, you'll find plenty of plans that tell you how many turns that you need to make. I don't remember the formula off the top of my head, but there is a formula that'll help you calculate what you need for a 1-1 balun.
It's goofy because the number of wraps around the toroid aren't 49, right? That's the issue, but it has to do with Ohm's law. And so E times I is power, or no, resistance is E over I. I can't think of Ohm's law. I'm the electrician here, guys.
Pi, power equals.
Yeah, we're both having a problem with it tonight.
Yeah, power equals
but anyway,
amps times volts. So it's
pi. But so resistance, impedance. Is what anyway, blah 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 blah. Long story short, when we cut this up for a video in a couple weeks, guys, is that the number of turns is not reflective of what the actual ratio is. If you go to it's in the extra test, and I can't think of it. And Michael would have given me a little heads up on this question. I could have probably researched it, but maybe save it. We'll talk about it next month. I'll have to.
Yeah, we'll grab this.
To it. Google 1-to-1 balun, and it'll tell you how many times you wrap it around.
Yep, exactly.
And actually, a number of wraps also helps a little bit with the amount of power that you're putting into it as well. So remember that.
Yep. There we go. So, all right.
Resistance is futile. Don't impede it.
I was gonna grab that one too. So
there we go.
We were gonna talk about reactance.
Okay.
Alan last month when I did the review of the Sporty 40, I was talking about resonance and reactance, and when you can reduce your reactance down to 0, your antenna becomes resonant. So Alan asked, what is reactance? So Joe, do you want to, I know you've got a really good explanation of what reactance is.
All right, Alan, I hope you're still with us here. I see you in the comments here a couple of times. So let's just step back for a second. Let's talk about DC theory for a second. E equals I times R is that voltage equals current times resistance, okay? So resistance, ohms, always think direct current, okay? So that's always easy because it's kind of it's a 1-to-1 relationship there. When we start alternating current, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, we start to get capacitance and we start to get inductance. Okay, in capacitance and inductance also they impede the they act against the flow of current in an AC circuit. Okay, so we don't have reactance in a DC circuit, purely DC. Now you have to understand too that we can have both AC and DC currents on this single circuit, but that's like master's level here. We're not worried about that right now.
And I'm just going to interrupt you just to kind of clarify, because we're talking about, the reason we're talking about AC or alternating current is because RF energy is AC or alternating current.
Right, exactly. That's a very good point. Whether it's 60 hertz stuff on your wall outlet or 3900 megahertz, 3900 kilohertz on your radio, it's all alternating current, okay? So we have to understand that reactance, which is still ohms, any sort of opposition to current is measured in ohms, whether it's resistance, reactance, or impedance. Okay, that's why they're all ohm. So this reactance opposes the current flow, but it does not produce watts. Okay, watts is power.
Watts is power, correct.
Right. Okay. So it is basically lost energy. And that's the problem, is that more reactance is that we're losing that energy in capacitance and inductance. And we don't want that.
It's either, it'll either be, depending on how it's, where the phase, it's either going to be capacitive or it's going to be inductive.
Right.
And
when you study for the general, the extra, they talk about Eli the Iceman when current and voltage are not in phase. There's not resonance. One leads or one lags. That's a whole. I could talk for an hour on that. But long and short of it is, we always want them together. That resonance is the most optimal frequency, because at resonance there is no reactance, there is no loss that is not being, there is no power that's not being used and being radiated. Reactance doesn't get radiated.
No.
Okay. Now, resonance, when there is no reactance, or when capacitive reactance negates inductive reactance, it's kind of high in the sky. Remember how we talked about an isotropic antenna in some of our lessons?
The perfect radiator
antenna that does not exist because it radiates perfectly, but it's impossible to have. So perfect resonance really is kind of impossible to have. We say an antenna is resonance, but it's not really. It's close to resonance. You have almost no reactance. Okay. And then everything is just pure watts. It's all being radiated. Think of an electric space heater putting out 1,500 watts. Everything going into those coils and jets heating up. But there's inductance in that because of those coils and everything. So we have this idea that resonance means 50 ohms and SWR 1-to-1, and that's a bunch of baloney.
Yeah, correct.
Resonance is when your capacitive reactance, your X of C and your X of L balance out to zero. And then you have just a purely resistive load. And that's great, because then that's just radiating. Even if it's not 50 ohms, rock it. We talked about this in the Sporty 40. You had 100 or you had a 25 ohm load?
25 ohm load, 2-to-1 SWR.
But it was still, there was no reactance to it. So it was just everything he was putting into that, with the exception of some of the reflected power, was radiating out. And that's why you were just rocking 40 meters that day, because you were very, very efficient. There's a lot of antennas out there that are not 50 ohms at their feed points, and they will still radiate great.
Absolutely.
Really. And my Elmer Jerry, it took him probably 2 or 3 years to beat this into my head. Once I get it, once I got it, and everyone else started talking about antennas, everyone else was wrong. And I can prove it to him every time. Michael was wrong. I think I proved it to you once. And it's silly, but when you understand this and how it works. So let's get back to reactance. So reactance does not affect resistance. That's why when we're talking about it in the general and extra exams, we talk about it as an imaginary number, but we give it a J behind it, not an I, because we get I confused with current. So we put the J behind it. So we got to go kind of back towards 7th grade, 8th grade pre-algebra, when we were graphing things out on X and Y axis. We always put our resistance on the X axis, right? We put that horizontally. We always put a reactance on the Y axis, with inductive reactance, X of L, above, and capacitive reactance below. Okay. Now, if you have 50 ohms of inductive reactance, X of L, and you have 40 ohms of capacitive reactance, because you can have both, you have a net reactance of 10 ohms. Okay, follow me on that. I don't have the John Madden Telestrator or whenever he had. We're
going to need to get some visual aids here.
Yeah, we're going to need a few more Patreons for that. I mean, back to 1980s, 1990s technology here. We could get a few Patreons for that. I'm sure there's something open source. But anyways, so let's go to the Pythagorean's theorem, because we're graphing this out. We have a right angle triangle now. We can calculate the impedance A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Reactance squared, resistance squared plus reactance squared equals impedance squared. Okay.
Ooh.
And if you can figure that out, as you lower your reactance to 0, then your impedance equals your resistance. Okay. So that's the 5-minute version of reactance, Alan. Thank you for coming.
I think we were closer to 10.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But like right there, that's like the first 2 years of what they teach electrician apprentices is AC and DC theory right there. There's a lot more math behind it. As your frequency changes, your reactance will change as well, because you already have it. You always have it the same inductance in millihenries or in henries and in farads and capacitance. But as the frequency changes, your inductance and ohms change, or your reactance and ohms changes. Okay, and that's the key too. So that's why an antenna that's resonant at 80 meters ain't going to work at 40, because the reactance changes.
The reactance changes. So, all right, we got some stuff in the chat that came up. First, I'm going to thank you, Mike.
Yeah, all that for $7.
We'll get the telestrator going. So, I think at that price, it's going to be like, remember the old magic screen Bill Cosby had, with the picture pages.
Let's talk about Bill Cosby. He's kind of sort of a persona non grata now, right?
Oh, he had MRD, got here and his brain is melting. So,
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I was reluctant to bring this up.
There is reluctance. There is reluctance. That is actually a thing. That is not a distractor on the question. There's actually reluctance. But that's next month.
That's actually
And you know what it's measured in? Not a dirty joke. It's measured in Siemens.
the German engineer. So.
The German engineer Siemens, right? My fluke measures Siemens.
Oh man, now we're going to start grinding gears.
We're past ground gears.
Asked, does the nano VNA measure reactance? It should.
Yeah. It'll measure reactance up the yin yang.
Yeah. And your rig experts do too. All of the AA series does that. The sticks do that. I use those meters all the time.
Not only will the nano VNA measure it, it'll graph it out.
Correct.
To the nth degree with a Smith chart. So absolutely, yes, it will.
And then finally, antenna wire only comes in 2 lengths: too long and too short.
But that's actually true. That's actually true. Go back to that for a second. So, because we talk about that, because you really can't hit perfect resonance, right? It's like resonance, like an infinitesimally small point that beyond microscopic, because anything past it has to be out of it. So it's either always going to be too long or too short. That really is true. But we get to a point where close enough is good for ham radio, for anything really, because because everything is going to have a little bit of reactance.
Yep.
It's just the nature of the beast. You're going to have a little reactance. So people say, well, I have a perfect 1-to-1 SWR. It's like, okay, great, good for you. That doesn't mean jack.
No,
it really doesn't. No. I mean, Michael proved that just throw another 25 feet of coax on it, and you get great SWR. It didn't really change anything.
The ARRL antenna guide is got. I got it highlighted. I should find the phrase there. But they say that with an infinitely long enough, or with a sufficiently long enough piece of RG8X coax, you can make any antenna 1-to-1.
That is true. You'll burn it right on. No, it absolutely is true. So there's so many tricks, guys. And here's the thing. Go to a used bookstore and find for 50 cents the ARRL antenna manual from the 1950s. They don't even worry about SWR.
No.
They make antennas that the antennas that the old guys made were a billion times better than some of the stuff that we have out there today. And it was just made with chicken wire and porcelain insulators, and they talk the world.
Well, they were also had tube transmitters that could load anything.
Right,
so.
right. But you know what? That's still. I mean, go get a antenna tuner, and just don't use the coax. Use the terminals on the back and see what happens.
Yep.
You'd be really surprised what you can do. That's why I went. I just used a random wire off the back of the antenna tuner for our challenge a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get away from coax. The only reason we use coax nowadays, coax is so plentiful after World War II, they were giving it away, and it was at 50 ohms. They were giving it away. So eventually someone figured out, hey, let's just put the transmitter impedance at 50 ohms. And make it better. But 50 ohms doesn't necessarily mean that's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Kassler, KE0G, 50 ohms is a really good impedance for audio. 75 ohms is a little bit better for the video and stuff. But realistically, anything will match. And anything will
yeah.
So.
Yep. Exactly. And we use coax nowadays because it's convenient.
Right.
So
it's cheap. It's convenient.
Yeah.
Put it together. And now that we make most of our antennas, we're aiming for 50 ohms, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, well, that went a whole lot deeper than I was
this month.
I was expecting. I might have to have a part 1 and a part 2 at that rate.
Really, I'm gonna need a little more kickback this month. Like not just 1 penny, 2 pennies, buddy.
2 pennies. We might have to get you that new microphone for sure. So
there you go.
Joe, before we close down there, is there anything that grinds your gears, or are you all ground out now?
I'm ready.
You're ready.
Fire
all right.
Play it.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Tis the season, boys and girls. Thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Kwanzaa. There you go. Jingle those bells. And for those of you, when you're around the aluminum pole airing your grievances.
Oh, Festivus, the holiday for the rest of us.
I got a grievance. After the show, I'll be airing. There'll be some feats of strength. I can tell you that. Just remember, it's holidays. Have a good time. Get on the air. Everyone's got a little vacation planned. Hopefully, get some time off. I heard something the other night that this really grand. We've been dealing with some QRM, QR Mary, man-made, right? Michael's had this problem.
Oh yeah.
I heard someone QRMing SantaNet, 3916 SantaNet. Like, what is going on?
What kind of a Grinch would do that?
Who the hell would QRM SantaNet? Okay, like I'm going to tell you this: even the Grinch ain't gonna QRM the SantaNet. Okay,
he's got standards.
Not much. Probably because he doesn't have power up there on the mountain and doesn't have a radio. But maybe he talks to our buddy here who's got the 4,500 watt generator, and he can kind of, he's kind of that. But anyways, if you got a QRM the SantaNet, go to hell. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Just turn your radio in as you go, because that is just dumb. Don't QRM the SantaNet.
That's lower than low.
It is. It really is. Like, I hope you step in dog poop when you walk outside your door. I might have mailed you some. I got 3 bulldogs. I got plenty, and
left it flaming on the doorstep.
Oh,
so.
I got it. So it explodes and splatters all over it.
Oh,
I should have said that. The FBI will be visiting me tomorrow. But anyways, so 3916 SantaNet, cqsanta.net, I believe it is. Can I find SantaNet here? Yeah. cqsanta.com. Okay. So this Saturday, my daughter's finally figured it out. I think, guys, probably because she's asking us directly for high ticket items. She's 13. I think she's kind of figured it out. But my nieces, they're younger yet, and they really are gung ho on Santa. So I'm taking the radio down there. We're gonna set it up portable in my father's workshop.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
Saturday night, we're gonna be on the Santa Net. Hopefully, we get in there. Um, you don't want to miss it. If you got young ones, go ahead. And here's the deal: you don't got to have a great station to get on the Santa Net. Santa's got pickup
Helpers.
stations all over.
Yeah.
So if you need a relay, there's an elf out there that's going to pick you up, and they got good ears. I mean, they're pointy. They're really good ears. So try to do that this chance. And a lot of local clubs also do this too on the repeaters locally too. If you got a local club that's doing it, support them. Help them out. Get on there with the kids, and you know what? You may make another ham down the road. Okay. So that's what's grinding my gears. You six.
There you go. Oh,
keep a PC. Okay.
That's terrible. So it's. We're gonna get ready to close things down here, and I think I wanted to grab one last question here, then talk about some things that are coming up. But Bishak says 10-meter contest is coming up. Any simple antenna suggestions?
Oh.
It's not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. I think it's like the 10th and 11th of December is the ARRL 10-meter contest. The simplest 10-meter antenna and probably one of the most effective will be the dipole. And they're easy to make. 468 divided by your frequency in megahertz gives you the length of a half wave. So you would cut that in half. So approximately 8-ish feet on each leg for 28.4 or 28.8
8 1/4.
8 1/4
at 28.4 megahertz.
Yeah. So
well, I'll tell you what, if you get it anywhere close there, usually it's going to be broadbanded enough that it covers most of the 10 meter band.
Most of the 10 meter band.
Just saying.
Yeah. And it'll work and the great thing about the 10-meter contest, it's open to technicians. So and you can do it. You can do it because there will be plenty of activity in the technician portion of the 10-meter band.
That's where most of it is. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. CW, digital FT8, voice, phone, those are all available to you. Dipole antenna, vertical, 8 1/4 foot vertical with some ground networks, a little ground network. You could do that too.
You probably only need to get 20 feet in the air too.
Yeah, so I was going to say, did you know that my first homebrew antenna was the 10-meter dipole?
I think you gave it to me. Or at least I think
that where it went?
The center feed you gave to me.
Is that where it went?
Populated it.
Yeah, I was gonna rebuild it for the 10-meter contest, but so.
Oh yeah, so for the past 8 years you haven't been in the 10-meter contest because you gave it to me?
No, I got the other big antenna, but I built that 10-meter antenna. Yeah, I built that 10-meter antenna when I got my little Radio Shack transceiver. So I needed an antenna for that. And I hung it up, about 15, 16 feet. That's all you needed to do for 10 meters. And, it works. Yeah. So I think that's the simplest antenna. There's lots of instructions. You don't need a lot of you don't have to buy a lot of fancy stuff to get it put together. It's a simple center connector, coax, and 16.5 feet of wire. So it's get you on the air. I'm planning to do the contest. I'm planning to build an antenna for it. So hopefully it's not too cold.
Beginning of November during the sweepstakes, I was working everything on 10 meters. I worked Cape Verde on 10 meters. Okay. I'm talking Africa on 10. So 10 is opening up, guys. Don't discount it. Get out there and have some fun.
It is. Absolutely. Yep. So, Alan's going to correct me. No digital for 10 for technicians. So my apologies. CW and phone.
Just call
so
CQ.
it's
Just get out there and call CQ on sideband.
Yep, you'll get it. You'll make contacts. So. So that's coming up. Let's see. This weekend, I will be at 2 different parks, hopefully, weather permitting. We're going to head up north to Duluth, Superior. Christine wants to go to one of those outdoor holiday markets, Scandinavian outdoor markets in Duluth. So we're going to spend the weekend up there and hopefully hit Amnicon Falls State Park and Pattison State Park. We'll see
Are those
the weather.
ones for you, or have you been there before?
I've been to Amnicon before. We've camped at Pattison, but I've never activated it. So one of the 2 is a new one for me. So looking forward to doing that. 10-meter contest in about 10 days. Let's see. I don't know what else is coming up. I mean, the holidays. So
your year in review video.
My year in review video.
That'll be up.
Yep, lots of course. And I'll probably have a poll set up, towards the middle of the month for if anybody wants to do any. We'll have like a viewer's choice award for the top 10. So those will show up on the end of the year. A couple of recaps. I like to do those so that I can take some time off, between the 2 holidays. So
he's already got those videos in the can, guys.
I wish.
Or he's hoping that holiday quota that he could just drink a little more of it.
And then, of course, our next little live stream next year, January 5th at 7:00 p.m. Holy smokes! So it's and that's it. So
2023 is just around the corner, guys.
K8 MRD says Tex can do 10-meter FT8. Now I am confused.
No.
Hold on.
No, because you're only limited to CW.
Are you?
Yes. You're limited to the mode.
Okay. Let me.
99.9% sure on that.
I'm looking right now. Hold on. Let me clear this just in case. Let's see. 10 meters. So novices and techs have privileges between 200 watts between 28 and 28.3, and then 28.3 and 28.5. The red is for CW, I think.
You're limited to mode.
RIDI and data. No. They are. They can do it.
I don't think so.
Okay, hold on. He's
looking that up. Ken Jennings or Maya Bialik? What do you like better on Jeopardy, guys? So it's tough for me. It really is, because on one hand, I met Ken Jennings. I had a beer while talking to Ken Jennings. Oh, that's funny. But Maya Bialik, I like the Blossom. It's a very difficult decision for me, guys. But tell me who you like on Jeopardy. I really need to know this because it's a burning question. Did you figure it out yet, Michael? Because I'm just trying to dig for something to burn up here.
I'm trying to get the band chart to come up, and
I think you got to look at part 97.
Okay.
You know what? We will follow our teams here on social media. We're going to figure this out and we'll post it.
We might have to figure this out because so 10 meters novice tech is red between 28 and 28.3, and red on the key says RIDI and data.
Yeah, that's wrong because it should be CW.
Well, no, but CW is included under RIDI and data.
Okay.
Sideband phone 28.3 to 20, because you can do CW anywhere,
but
regardless.
X.
Unless it's CW only, which is the wavy line. And there are some spots, like on the 40-meter band for novice tech. There's, you've got that. on 80 meters, CW only, but 10 meters, it's red. So, yep, nope, they can do it. They can do it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on here. Part 97. I'm at the point where I'm game to play this year. This is your Christmas present, boys and girls. We're going into overtime just to figure this out. Okay.
Oh, thanks for bringing this up.
Right, we're going to take care of this.
Yeah. And yeah, Mike is right. You can do CW anywhere. Absolutely, you can do CW anywhere.
You can do
even
CW anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is for RIDI and data, and I don't think you can run RIDI and data. But
text can run RIDI, and yeah, I'm pretty certain of this here. Yeah, so. Joe's going to go down swinging, but he's going down.
Yeah, and I got 2 of 39 matches here, so hold on.
Okay, well, we'll answer some of these other questions. What logging software do you use? Personally, I use Hammers, HAMRS, for my Parks on the Air activations. Everything else, I use N3 JFP. And for the 10-meter contest, I will be using the N3 FJP software because they're purpose-built for contests. So, let's see if you have any other questions here. Yeah, one of the Mike said also, yeah, the catch is most technicians don't have radios that work on those frequencies or modes. So some of them, if they've got if they got an HF rig for the 6-meter band, then they would have that ability to do those modes. Very few people, I think, are getting those 10-meter only radios unless they're getting like one of those President Lincoln radios. So it's but so you find it there, Joe? You're still looking?
I'm on the right page. Hold on.
The suspense is killing me. I hope it lasts.
Guys, have you ever really read through legal documents? There is no quick answer.
Yes, all the time.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Politician.
My son-in-law is an attorney.
Yeah, maybe he could read this.
There you go. We give that to him.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just table this. Unfortunately, we're not going to get you an answer here right away.
Yeah.
Technician 10-meter privileges. Okay. No, that's not what I want. Yeah. This is getting.
We're going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, this is absurd. I want an answer here, Google. Why haven't you given me an answer?
I'm gonna go with the league's band plan. So it's we're gonna have to make a ruling. So
all right. So here's the deal. We'll post it on social media in the next day or so. I got a contact.
Yeah.
I have a contact that's so high up, even Jesus calls him for questions. Okay. I'm gonna get a hold of him. I'm gonna get an answer, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold Steve Austin will say so.
There you go.
Okay. Let's end this, because I'm tired.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy. So 10-meter. Let's now that we've spent way too much time on this, we have to get on the air for the 10-meter contest. So it's
We have to.
We have
So
to.
let it be written. So let it be done.
Done.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, boy.
Okay, okay. Oh, man. So, all right. Well, thanks a lot for coming in, everybody. That was a great show, even though we went
To be jolly, rah, 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 rah.
even though we went over time. This was really fun, especially the last 15 minutes trying to figure out this,
Rah, 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 rah. Rah, 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 rah.
this rule.
There we
So,
go. A little Christmas story in there too, guys.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, blessed Kwanzaa, happy Festivus.
Yeah. Yeah,
Did I
and
miss
I
one?
hope your Festivus, you air all of your grievances. Grind them gears. I'm Joe,
Solstice Fest.
KD9 CJX.
Michael, Michael, KB9 VBR. Everybody have a great day, and 73.
73.